Good evening, everybody. Let's see, today is February 17th, 2022. It's 7:35, and this is the Newbury Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight we have Larry Murphy, our liaison from the Planning Board. We have Mario Carnevale, who is a member, myself, Eric Spahn, who's a member and the chair, Jack Kelly, who's an associate member, and will be sitting in for the third voting member on this hearing, Martha Taylor, who's our town planner, and Chrissy Beaupre, who's our administrator. So with that, Mario, if you would open the first.
Sure. We're going to do 5 Cinder first?
Okay.
Yeah, I can rock them. All right. Public hearing, George and James Samas. The applicants are requesting a special permit finding for relief of section 97 4D-5C01, increase in square footage and upward extension of the Newbury zoning bylaws and any other permit relief as may be required under the town of Newbury zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use/project in order to raise the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and garage on the lot and construct a new single-family dwelling on the property located at 5 Cinder Avenue, Plum Island, Newbury, Mass. Assessors map U05, lot 82.
All righty, let's step forward.
Well, my name is Philip Treffler, standing in of Finner and Nicholson. I'm standing in for Doug Duchesne this evening. I'm here representing George Seamus and James Seamus, the owners of the property at 5 Cinder. And with me today is also Matthew Steinel, our engineer from Millennium Engineering, and Scott Brown, the project manager from Scott Brown Architects. I also have a copy of our presentation I'd like to submit to the board. So, plenty of copies for everybody.
Thank you.
So, what the Seamuses are proposing to do is they're going to raise the pre-existing non-conforming home and garage on the pre-existing non-conforming lot at 5 Cinder and construct a new single-family home on the lot, which results in the elimination of the existing multiple existing non-conformities. And this will actually be a benefit to the neighborhood, not simply less detrimental. Because the height of the structure exceeds the height of the existing home, doesn't exceed the maximum of 35 feet, just simply a bit taller. The Newbury zoning bylaw 97-4DD requires a finding from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So the existing conditions on the lot, we have an area of 5,840 square feet. 40,000 is the required. The frontage is 80 feet. Required is 125 feet. Neither of these things is going to change with our proposed alterations. The pre-existing structure on the lot has a side setback of 8.1 feet. 10 feet is required. Rear setback of 4.5 feet. Again, 10 feet required. The garage, the non-conforming garage, has a front setback of 12.8 feet, 20 is required, and a side setback of 7 feet, whereas 10 is required. Now, I put up the up here as well, the photographs of the structure, but as you can see, it's also raised up a little bit on a hill. This puts it in an interesting position where it either already blocks the views from surrounding properties, or it simply overlooks a property that doesn't have a view anyway. As you can see from the photographs, the structure itself and the garage are in less than ideal condition, and the proposed alterations, the proposed new home, will dramatically improve the aesthetics of the property, raise property values, and also be of a benefit to the town. The reconstructed home will eliminate the non-conforming dimensional setbacks, being that it will now be a conforming structure as to the dimensional setbacks. It'll meet the lot coverage, FAR, and height requirements. Also, the new structure, one of the reasons it increases in height is we're putting it on pilings to meet flood regulations. And with the extra room for drainage in the area, that will also be a benefit to the town. Again, we're increasing the height, that's why we're here. Covering all other ways we are reducing nonconformities, and we are simply not adding any additional ones. As we're also improving the aesthetics of the property, which will increase the property value and the property value of surrounding homes, and that'll also end up increasing tax revenue for the town, which I'm sure the town appreciates. The meeting all the flood regulations will also improve the safety in the area and be a benefit to the entire neighborhood as well. So, in a brief conclusion, raising the existing home and reconstructing it as you can see on the plans, it will reduce the number of nonconformities on the lot as it now stands, and it will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood or the Plum Island community in general. And in fact, it's going to benefit the community, especially with the aesthetics, improved safety meeting the flood regulation, and increasing property values. And I guess on that point, I would say that I request that the board grant us a finding that it is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the currently existing structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your presentation with it all laid out as you described it here. Mario, any comments or questions? Jack, where?
Just height, that's the only thing we're talking about.
Okay.
It's an increase in height. We aren't exceeding the 35 feet limit. It's just simply, we have to raise it up to build the structure as planned.
So I have two side comments, just in general. Looking at the plan, you have the secondary stairs that go down the south side to what is called the garage. Is that a second lot or an alternate lot?
So are we looking at?
Not the big stair from Cinder, but what's?
Oh, I believe that goes
existing
down
stair?
to a neighboring.
That was in neighboring
Yeah,
sections that were part of the original existing conditions. It's just not being removed as part of the project, but that was there just on the
Yeah,
surface to allow neighbors to
Pass
visit each other.
Pass and repass.
Yes.
With
But
that,
it already,
we'll get to the asking of if there's anybody here or the neighbor has any objection while you're doing this, that there's something existing that crosses the property line, if that's an issue or something like that.
but I mean, it crosses over into a neighboring lot.
Understood, it's existing and it's existing to remain. So maybe if the owners, have you talked to the neighbors? Is there any issue with leaving that? Or?
I've talked to the neighbors. My brother and I, 6 years ago, came in front of this board and we built a couple of homes down on Southern Boulevard. And you know, it took us a while, you know, to go through that process. So our thought was to hire, you know, the professionals. So what we did is we took the advice of Doug and of Matt and Scott, and you know, we knocked on the doors of the neighbors. The neighbor that owns the property, and I believe you're referring to the stairs that cross this property line right here.
That is correct.
So the neighbor is directly across the street. He owns the property here, and he owns that property. He rents that one right now. You know, I don't see us ever even thinking about walking down that stairwell. There's a structure there, you know, right on the line that I don't think anyone uses. The site's pretty.
Yeah, I just want to know that you took the opportunity to talk to a neighbor and you don't go through the process and all of a sudden the neighbor wakes up and sees your house demolished and something new, and then all of a sudden goes.
We knocked on the doors because I wanted to hear any concerns of the neighbors. And the only concern that one of the neighbors presented was the lady in front of us. You know, she was just concerned that there might be rodents or something living in there because the house has been unoccupied for so long. And you know, my comment back to Doug was, you know, we're going to do everything that, you know, is required. So I think we have to have some sort of abatement with the.
Part of the building permit.
If there needs to be extermination or any of that thing, it's probably going to be a benefit to the neighborhood to remove the structure that is harboring them in the first place, ultimately.
And then it's totally out of our jurisdiction. It does appear that you've got like knotweed growing in the front, and a chance to eradicate that would certainly be a benefit, I think, to everybody.
There's a good chance when we go through the conservation process, which is next, that Mary Rimmer, who sits on the board, will see it during a site walk and will likely be asking us to address that at that time.
And I'm not going to bring it up to her, but I'm just saying it would be good of you to try to get rid of that.
incorporate that into our,
Yes.
into our swing with them.
And it just takes a little bit of covering up and some tarping and then through the process. Okay. Then, as we talk about the height, you have the average, you have the existing grade, you have the mean grade, you have the height of the structure to the top, which is the proposed mean roof elevation, and the height is 34 feet 8 1/4. Okay, so you're in keeping with the height. And then the plan of that, what the roof deck access is, where do we have that?
It's shown on one of the profiles on the Millennium Plan, but I think in more detail on Scott's plan. Several different views of the
Looking for, floor plan or?
I'll turn it over to Scott for
Mr.
this.
Chairman, we're referring to this structure right here,
Yep.
the roof access. And I think we have this in your packet as well. This is our calculation sheet showing how we arrived at the FAR and lot coverage, and we're showing the structure right here.
So you're counting that in the floor area ratio, and it's 46 feet.
Correct.
That's, quote, the landing at the top of the stairs.
Correct, yep. Only counting the stair once, and that's on the first floor.
Okay. Mario, any?
No, I looked at them earlier today, I didn't see anything.
The only thing that caught my eye is just it says maximum height 35 feet, mean grade to mean roof. And really, that text should probably be below 34 foot 8 1/4. We'd just probably like just to cross out 35 feet, because you don't have to prove the 35 feet, just the 34 feet. Just,
I think that's an easy enough modification to make.
yeah, and I think we could just cross it off and move forward as opposed to reprint, readjust, and things like that.
Just cross it off and initial it.
Sure, that shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay, so is the piling height the first floor? Or do you double, triple check that that's in the right flood zone and the right height?
So, yes, we performed an on-ground survey and looked at the national mapping for the flood zone there. And you can see the dark line that we have here is the actual mapped flood line. And the map zone there is a zone X for where the main structure is, and at the bottom of the hill, it's an elevation 13 AE. So if you look at all the elevations around the main structure, we're up at 18, 19, we're 5 feet above the actual elevation, but well outside the actual map line.
And you're coming close at the north corner there, right?
Close to the north corner, correct. So even if you were to say that that strikes it and the entire building would conform, it's an AE zone, so first floor of the living space has to be a foot above 13. We're at 21 plus, we're well above it.
Okay. Great. Daphne, anything else we're looking at? All right.
Yeah.
Good then? You good? Thomas and Larry over there? No? Great. Is there a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion to grant a special permit to raise the existing non-conforming structure and reconstruct a new single-family with conforming lot side backs, FAR, lot coverage, and height of 34.8.
8 1/4.
8 1/4.
What's that say on there?
It's 8 1/4 inches, it's not 0.8, so it's
Oh.
engineering rather than architectural.
Okay,
On mine, it's probably a decimal, on the architects, it's in inches.
Just get that done. Is there any discussion on the motion? I'd just like to bring up that we'd like to modify the plans, just so there's no technical issues between them. You gonna have an issue with that?
I don't think we're gonna have an issue.
Certainly happy to do that, resubmit for the.
No, you do
No,
it
no.
now, you just cross it off an initial.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, just do it ad hoc.
right there. Okay, done that before.
New experiences every day.
You have nicely drafted plans, I think.
Thank you.
So,
Oh, I don't see what you're saying, yeah.
just someone else who's not
Upside down.
fluent or takes the time to read it, might come
Understood.
right back, might come right back to us and say, what did you guys do? I think we're,
Not shown on the other sheet, of course we did it everywhere.
I don't know if it's the same comment on the engineering plan. Here I have it with the 34 foot, and the inches, but on the other side I show what the max is as well. Do you want just this crossed off? Just so there's no confusion.
well, is that, are you gonna submit this with
It
this
is
piece of
part of
paper?
the submission already. Yeah.
We'll make this copy part of it.
I can fold that up for you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right,
Take care of that.
is there a vote?
I believe procedurally, I think you have to ask the
Oh.
neighbors, but,
Oh, sorry about that. So we're still in the public hearing. We'll
I
go
mean,
for the public hearing.
I just wanna make sure it's a clean,
All right.
clean procedure.
All right,
You don't
so
run
we'll-
into trouble.
Drafted and it fits the conforming nature of it, it kind of skipped ahead here. All right, is there anybody in the public that would speak for the project? Anybody that would like to speak against the project? So we'll close the hearing. We'll close the comment or discussion on the motion for updating the drawings. And we will move to a vote.
I think you need a second.
I'd be happy to second the motion to approve.
Okay? Aye. Three in favor. Thanks, Martha. Thank you for the complete and well-documented plans.
Thank you.
The presentation. Do you want, I have an extra presentation, do you want that?
Yeah, I'll take off your hands, I suppose.
Yeah.
This is the one we initial.
And here's the plan, here's the official plan. We will draft the motion and then review it and approve it in the next meeting. We have sort of a lengthier format and more inclusive, and so it,
Of course.
to that matter, I think for this hearing, we'll close the public hearing. We don't have anything new, nothing new is gonna come up, and we're not requesting anything new from you.
I don't anticipate there's gonna be a sudden redrawing of the whole plans,
No.
so.
So with that, we would close the public hearing of this. Draft the motion, read the motion, vote the motion in the next meeting.
All right, sounds great.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We go to set of questions?
We can go to Seth, yes, we can go to Seth.
Okay. Are they here?
You
Okay, David?
you can read you can read the old business without the lane here, we cannot take action on it, but I think we can discuss it, at least review it for edits and for the completeness. And then I emailed Elaine and asked her if she's available next week. And then we'd ask if you're available
Yep.
next week to have a meeting
Okay.
where we could actually move these
And
along.
then the same thing with 141.
Same for 141.
Okay, Gerald Fandetti, 7 Hutchins Road. The applicant is requesting a special permit finding for relief from the Newbury zoning bylaws, 97-4D, upward extension in order to raise the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family residential dwelling on pilings on the lot located at 7 Hutchins Road, Plum Island, Newbury. Assessors map U03, lots 24, 27, 28. Continued from 12/9/21.
Excuse me, can I interrupt for 1 second? We meant to come to, I guess, the one before about Cinder Ave, and we just arrived. We're coming from work and stuff.
You did miss it. Were you speaking for or against, or?
Well, we just wanted to advocate for, the laws that you have, the height restrictions. We're not.
What they intended to do was to meet all the bylaws. They weren't asking for anything or any existing conditions or other encroachments.
Okay.
They were taking down what they had, which had some deficiencies in side yard setbacks, and they've improved it by putting the house that meets all the setbacks, meets the height, meets the FAR,
Okay,
meets the coverage.
that's fine then. Thank you.
So-
I thought the way I read it was they were asking to exceed the height and to,
Anybody on Plum Island that has something that's existing, that then they're proposing something higher,
Yeah.
needs to come before us.
Oh, higher than what's existing.
Higher than
as
what's
opposed to
existing.
the bylaws.
But they're within the limit of the bylaw.
All right, good job.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, back to 7 Hutchins. So Elaine's not here to vote on this. We have your decision in hand.
Okay.
I've asked Elaine to say, hey, we need to move this along, so we would hopefully agree on a date that we can meet next week, advertise it, meet specially to approve this and vote on it and get it finalized.
So it would be extended to next week?
Yeah.
Any idea what date is next week?
No, I don't. Okay, unlock. Any night next week is okay for me as of right now. So if we were to, today's Thursday, if we advertise on Monday.
There's a select board meeting on Tuesday.
No, I'm saying we couldn't meet Tuesday if we advertised Monday.
Right, you couldn't.
Right, so Wednesday's the first day we could do it, and then there's Thursday. So why don't we just check our calendars, Mario?
I'm good either night, Wednesday, Thursday.
No idea what's happening.
Check the town calendar. Unless you want to do it by Zoom.
I think we'll figure out how to make it happen is what we'll do. And we'll try to meet in person so we can at least sign it and be concluded in the process of reviewing it. I have a 6 p.m. on Thursday, 6 p.m. for Thursday for the vested rights and non-conforming. So I propose we do it Wednesday, the 23rd.
Okay.
Mario, Wednesday, the 23rd?
Yep.
Martha, Wednesday, the 23rd?
Yeah,
Make a motion to continue.
it's actually, the hearing's closed, is my understanding, so you
Yes.
don't need to continue, you just need to
We just need to set the date
set the
to
date.
review it.
Okay.
Post it 24 hours, 48 hours ahead of time. And it doesn't look like anything's scheduled for this room.
Well, we could hold it in the hall if we have to. We'll make it happen on Wednesday,
Wednesday, the 23rd.
23rd.
What is the advertisement? How does that work?
We have to advertise our public notice so that any meeting of a board or a
I
committee
understand, okay.
gives
So it's a public notice of meeting.
public notice meeting, right?
Yeah, posting the agenda has to be 48 hours.
I got it.
Not,
Wasn't familiar with the procedure.
right, not including weekends and holidays.
Wait a
Uh-oh.
minute, Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, it's President's Day.
And the town is closed.
And the town is closed, right?
You can't do it tomorrow?
What if I just put the ad
You
in
can't
Journal?
post it, it's
Oh,
gotta be
it's
posted.
Do it Sunday. bagel.
The paper doesn't run on Tuesdays.
You want to zoom it?
But you don't
This
have
way,
to.
take the convenience?
No, it just needs to be advertised, we just
Yeah.
follow
Oh,
it.
no, I thought you had a meeting on Thursday night.
Do, but that's at 6. Are you available anytime during the day?
Yep.
Are you available any, you don't, I don't, we're gonna read this right now and find if there's anything whatsoever, and I don't think so. And then it's just a matter of having Elaine show up and asking her if she's read it, and then we sign it and get it done. But I'd be willing to offer a Zoom meeting on Wednesday at,
Still has to be posted on Monday for a Wednesday meeting, that's a holiday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so now we're in Thursday evening, or,
Can I go downstairs and get it to the paper tonight?
It doesn't have to, it's just the agenda, you're just posting the agenda.
Okay.
can the agenda be posted tonight? I mean, it has to be stamped in, right? And then it has to, what's it?
Yeah, it has to be stamped in.
Once I put it on the website, it goes right to the town clerks and they acknowledge it and post it.
Right, right. I mean, I suppose it could be, it could be, let's see, it could be done tomorrow.
Come on.
I mean, it would go up on the website.
Isn't the office closed?
The office is closed.
Martha's got a special meeting. Is that allowable, or how do we make this happen?
It's been, I mean, Friday, even though the offices are closed, it's not a weekend and it's not a holiday. Wouldn't be posted on the bulletin board until Tuesday, but it would get up on the website.
Are either of you here tomorrow? Happen to be here tomorrow?
I can come in and do it.
I probably will be later.
I'll do it tonight.
Okay, so we're working back to holding to Wednesday, is that right?
Just have to be, so if you're doing Wednesday night. Because you got Tuesday and Wednesday, so you're right. Could stay tomorrow.
Okay. All right, we're pulling all the stops out to make this happen for you.
Appreciate it.
But you've got to make sure that Elaine's available.
Yes, so that's Wednesday, the 23rd, right? 7:30.
5 here.
Yes, because we'd like to sign it. All right, Mario, if you, or Jack, if you have any questions on the text of the motion.
Okay, so.
Special funds.
Seems like I would fall back. Seems like he's conforming to everything. So I don't think Peter's.
No, it's just, it's higher than the existing, so that's,
I didn't, I heard that from the last, okay. So I do have to keep this because I got I got stuff in board, so.
Oh, okay.
But it was just these two, I think, and I wasn't sure if that stays, okay. That's the only thing.
Have you been through all other boards in town?
We've got sign-offs from everyone else.
Okay, I do not find any edits.
Eric, page 3, I didn't, page 3, I and J. I just have to add verbiage there. I
I,
wasn't sure on the code, but it is correct in Peter's letter, so I just have to fix that. I just have to add to it what it states in the bylaw and just correct the verbiage, but
isn't just, okay, single family. Mario doesn't find anything, I don't find anything, and so there's one little draft thing, we'll put it in there, and then on Wednesday, we'll read it and bring it up.
So Wednesday evening at 7:30?
7:30, I need 7:30 because I can't make it out of Boston back in time,
Okay.
for 7.
I'm sure Caroline can make it there.
She said any night. She said any night, I'll call her, and we'll just gotta make it happen. Yeah, good.
Just don't want to post it and then find out she can't do it.
I know, but she's, well,
Okay, I understand.
yeah, there'll be, tell her she's gotta show up to do it, we need to do it. So we're gonna commit to it and do it. Okay, so that is, we don't have to make a motion to continue, it's just old business to continue.
Okay.
So we'll just state for the record, for next Wednesday, the 23rd, at 7:30, we will have a hearing on the old business for both 7 Hutchinson Road and for 141 Northern Boulevard, in which the application, the decision will be read and voted on and signed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry for the miscue, but we're making the effort to get it done.
I think I can hold the contractors off. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate your showing up.
Yeah, see you.
thanks, Jerry.
Yeah.
So, well, the next one is you could just read the name and the address, and then we can get into, looking at the decision.
For Barry or for,
For 141 Northern Boulevard.
Renee DuPont, Richard Neal, 141 Northern Boulevard. Applicants are requesting a special permit finding relief of section 97-4D5C02 upward extension and 97-4D2B03 maximum floor area ratio of the Newbury zoning bylaws.
Ready? Have you read any edits to,
I wasn't here for
oh, you weren't, but did you, even reading the decision and just seeing if there's any edits, but just looking for eyes on it to make sure it reads. Chrissy's a Wonder Woman, but you know, sometimes you'll.
Only took me 6 days.
Okay, so in this 97-4D, to allow who uses single family. So this would be 5F, demolition, rebuilding after a finding. A non-conforming and two-family residential structure may be demolished and rebuilt after destroyed or damaged by a catastrophe so as not to exceed the total volume. Not to exceed the total volume. All demolished or destroyed structures and locusts and or exceed the height of demolished and destroyed structures. That's the by right one. So it's 97-4D 5F. I believe Peter and I had an email back and forth on this one.
Oh,
Just
yes.
for the, because 97 dashboard D. And then what was the appropriateness?
Okay.
It's 5, and then 5 has C changes by right, D special permit. E, F. Sorry, it's 5D, special permit.
Okay.
That allows the height in keeping with the neighborhood. All right. Any other comments? So we'll hear this one on, or review this one again. Did you, or could you email these, both of these to me?
No, not 7 Hutchins.
Could you read?
I
them
will,
So
yes.
I can email them to Elaine
Yes.
and instruct her to please read and be prepared, and we, 97-5D, and that we found no other edits, and ask her to be prepared to come with these 2 decisions reviewed, please.
So my question would be, Mario has to come to one, if I come into this one? Can we just change my name to Mario?
Unfortunately.
You're good, but not that good.
No, it's the pinch hitter role, Jack, you gotta,
All right, so we're all showing up
yes,
in Elaine.
Wednesday, 7:30?
yes. And then Martha's edits, it says a new single-family lot will have, and then, so there's some minor edits. Do you want to give, have you given that to Chrissy, or?
I did give a copy to Chrissy.
I've already lost.
So if you could
did
just
that.
change those few words, then I think we're,
Right, because it's an existing lot, not a new lot.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
all right.
And Barry Kaplan?
Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Kaplan had, in September, had the previous short form version of a decision, and it didn't really contain the full context that these decisions now have. And so at the end, where it says, any modifications to the structure other than those approved by the zoning board of appeals of the town of Newbury by and through its building department shall require modification to the special permit, which allows us to modify the permit. He has a permit, and there is no condition in the decision for which is written for a modification. Plain and simple, just following the rules that we set. And
So he'll be reapplying for,
he's going to reapply, he's going to give us the same documents, it's going to show the house 2 feet higher, he'll explain the AE zone, and we'll just make sure that it's not any different than what he submitted, which would be a fatal error if he does, and it should go forward from there.
okay.
Okay. I'll reach out to him.
And then the other business, which if there's none, is just to keep collecting your thoughts on discussions with the planning board and the building inspector for things where you have either clarification and/or things that you find, like a definition that may be missing, or we just want to discuss the roof heights and figure out things that are challenging to us, and ask the planning board and the building inspector their opinions, and figure if we can come to a conclusion on maybe tweaking it. Now, Martha and Larry, is there no way possible to do 97-4D Plum Island? If we made changes, would Newbury have to approve it? Is there some greater agreement or something like that?
New report, you mean?
New report.
I think it might depend on what the nature of the changes are. You know, a lot of the provisions are exactly the same. Some are not, like lot size. Their minimum lot size is 12,000. We kept the underlying zoning, which is 40. But it might be good to get town council's input on that.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to town council and just ask her about that section, if it's a non-starter or if there's things that we should, there is a way that we need to think about it differently than just any other.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things, and building height is building height, and that's not, that's not specific to the PIOD. So if that could be clarified, that certainly wouldn't impact that.
Other towns have zoning that have diagrams and pictures and things in them to help explain the bylaws.
Some do. I know Amesbury does for some things. I'm not sure if they do the building height and stuff.
I've seen it here and there. I'm just saying that we don't really have any diagrams. And then the other is just being very clear about what the definitions are, and any definitions that might be missing that we might feel would be helpful to have. Things like that, top of roof landing.
Yeah, third floors.
Yeah, again, going over just what we agreed was permissible for the lower level of the building in order to gain access on Plum Island to a raised building, and where mechanicals would come out of the ground, and having beach storage tucked underneath your house was limited to a size. And we kind of held the standard to that.
And that's specific to us. That was not in the Plum Island overlay district.
Right, but it just seemed as of course everybody had one, and it seemed something that should be allowable in order for the way the houses were built on Island. And the only other thing is just reading through the table of uses, just how.
We looked at one incident with the customary home occupation. There was kind of a gray area.
Yeah, and if I read through this to figure out if there are any other gray areas coming up, I mean, the dog establishment was fairly clear, and we kind of ran into a runaround of who actually owns it, but it's actually pretty clear about what is permitted, what's not permitted, what's a special permit by the planning board, what's a SPS, special permit by selectmen, and SPA by the ZBA. So it's all spelled out there. We had a little bit of a go.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it something about, determining what the definition of was full-time, part-time? We ran into that.
Well, there was that definition of what the owner was presenting to us, but it was clearly written who had the authority
Right,
which to
right.
review it here. And the
Right.
fact that they actually got before us was a little bit of a runaround from, and the fact that they had already been to, was it the planning board, Martha?
Yeah, they appealed the planning boards.
So they go to the planning board, they don't like what they hear, and they go, oh, let's go to the planning board. There's something else there. And so the point was, look, you started there, and obviously it says it right here, and you need to go back there.
Right.
And then it was, okay, so if they're within that exact definition, you need to go back there. All right.
I wasn't there for that. Where was that? Dog place?
This was.
Okay, for a long time.
The end of Downfall Road.
Downfall
Yeah.
Road.
Yeah,
In Byfield, just going north.
yeah, I'm familiar with that. So is it my dog.
And it was a technicality that says that this use is not permitted, and we don't have the ability to say whether we're overriding that or not. And that was the point, because it's really the planning board. And then I guess the case of what we've gone through in the previous hearings, where administrative decision, like on Central Street, they went to the planning board denied it, they went to the building inspector denied it. It then comes before us. because the building inspector denied it, it's now administrative appeal that's in our hands, and again, denying it on the basis that the planning board made proper procedures to do site plan review, and we did not find any technicalities of deficiency in doing that, nor do we have the ability, would we have the ability to override, because we have to do the same thing that the planning board did, and if they did it right, then that's sufficient. And we can, I guess, if we really wanted to have like the 40B, where we have a process for the 40B that's written and states how we go about it, we don't really have our ZBA statement of process for site plan review. If something came up, if something weird happened, and we had to say, like, let's hire a traffic consultant, and let's get this consultant, and let's get this, and let's figure it out, maybe we could do that, but it's not exactly in here that's just written down that we can follow.
Understood.
And when we did the 40B, when the first 40B came up, we actually had to sit down and create our guidelines for the 40B. So we now have that, which we didn't have before.
That was our first.
Right. Alrighty.
Motion to close the meeting?
Seconded?
All those in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Alrighty. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.